Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411, looking back at our first year.
I can't believe it's been a year.
I can't either. It does not feel that way, although This month has felt like the longest month ever.
That's true. We should have had an episode every day this month. That's how it felt.
Done like a little 5-minute recap every night just to keep ourselves entertained.
Exactly.
So it was a year ago on April 1st that we started our podcast. We actually recorded the first episode March 27th, but we launched on April 1st, which is also the same day that General Hospital started. And we started off by doing Monday's a weekly recap. And then Thursday, we didn't have a name for it.
No.
We had no idea what the heck we were going to call it. And it wasn't until I think July that we did have a name for it. And now it's known as the Port Charles 411, where we do deep dives into different characters, different storylines. We've had a couple interviews that we've done. How many interviews have we done? Sean.
Bradford.
Riel.
Bradford first. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bradford was our first interview, then Sean. Riel. Wiley's mom. So does that count as 1, 2, or 3?
To make our numbers look good, we're on 3 there.
And then Ella and her mom.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
A year ago, if you would have said we were going to get to talk to all those people, I would not have believed you.
I would not have probably said it.
No, you wouldn't have.
But we did it.
We've exceeded our expectations because we never had those expectations.
Well, so a year ago, what was your expectation going into this? And just a reminder for everyone, right now we're doing social distancing, so we're not recording face-to-face how we usually do, but so if it sounds a little weird.
Yes.
Yeah, so a year ago, what was your expectation of the podcast?
I mean, I figured that we would do it for a couple months. It would just be fun to talk about it, see how it goes, but I didn't expect it to be, I don't know that I didn't think it was going to last a year, but I didn't expect anyone to really be listening within the first year.
Yeah, so I actually pulled our stats of how much we've grown, and if you want to talk to that a little bit about.
I think it's funny that you don't like Apple products. You're an Android person and I'm an Apple person, but 62% of our listeners are on the Apple podcast. So shout out to the fellow Apple lovers. 22% just said other, 8% is Stitcher, 5% is Spotify, and 2% is Anchor, which I was surprised that Spotify was so low because I would have thought going into this that it would have been 50-50 between Apple and Spotify almost.
I agree. I was definitely shocked that there was not as many on Spotify as I thought that there would be, especially since it is one of the ones that on Instagram, when we post the link in our stories, it actually directs people to Spotify. So,
okay.
But you know what? I feel like Spotify is not really thought of as a podcast platform. I feel like it's
right.
Think of it more of, I'm going to create my own playlists, things like that.
Yes.
People think about Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, stuff like that.
Apple's just convenient because if you have an Apple product, it's already loaded onto your phone. So you don't really have to do anything except for click into it.
Well, so Google Podcast didn't even register. It's probably included in that other, which I think is funny.
Right.
But yeah.
Then we're heard in 35 different countries. And we've had listeners from 35 different countries, which is crazy.
And obviously we're not going to go through all of them, but I don't want to say obviously, but the United States is the most, and we're only listed in 47 states, and I did not look.
I'm sure you were tempted to, though. The nerd in you was tempted.
Because it actually reminded me of an episode of Friends where they're challenged to remember all 50 states. And as I'm going through the list and I'm like, okay, which one's missing? Which one's missing? I was like, you know what? Today's been a little bit of a busy day, so I just did not have time to sit there and do it. But maybe I will for our Monday. Who knows?
It's just exciting. Like I said, I didn't think that we were going to have that many listeners. And to know that not only do we have listeners, you know, you kind of think about where you're at. So to me, our listeners were definitely going to be all United States. So to see that there's listeners all over the world, that's awesome. You wish you could message them directly and be like, we really appreciate you listening to us, but can you explain to us why? Like, how did you find us? What made us pop up? Because that's crazy. It's just crazy to me. Oh, there I'm using the word crazy after our the weekly recap of the proper use of that word.
Well, and then when we spoke with Jacqueline, who's from France, she said it's not even in France. So
exactly,
these countries is it not on?
I don't know, but I appreciate them listening. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all of our international listeners.
So then we did the top 5 episodes, which I think number 5 is funny because that was Distracted by the Badger, which was our weekly recap on March 2nd of this year. Number 4 was 1.5 Dates, which was the weekly recap on January 20th of this year. Number 3 was Mini Heather Weber, which was January 27th of this year. And Wiley's Real Mom, which was one of my favorites, our 411 on February 20th. And our number 1 was Studio City, which was a 411 on January 30th, which that doesn't surprise me because that was a really good show. And I'm glad that everyone listened to it and hopefully went out and watched it.
Well, for a really long time, our top episode was after we went and saw Stone Cold and the Jackal show.
Yes.
Our recap. That was our top rated for a long time. I'm really surprised that one of our interviews was not the first,
right.
I love the fact that, you know, we kind of made the right call and we branched out and there's a bunch of GH actors on Studio City, but it's not GH.
Right.
And that was a fill-in when we didn't have General Hospital because of the impeachment trials. So that was
exactly. So they need to come out with more episodes in case we really don't have General Hospital to fill the rest of the quarantine from Corona.
So you said April 7th. I read somewhere yesterday, April 30th.
Oh, well, that's good.
So let's just hope.
I pray your number's right. Yeah. Or your date's right.
My number, this one I'm going to want to be right on.
Yes.
And we did have an honorary number 1, the episode of the weekly recap that we released on March 9th, 2020, titled Amanda Was Married to Taggart. That was the week that Apple Podcast was not playing and people were looking elsewhere. Seriously, the numbers for that episode are almost double what our top episode listens are. So it's not even like, oh yeah, it's just a little bit high. No. It's almost double what those 5 are. So I'm
glad that people went to find us.
I know that it was great. You know, thank you to everyone who was so dedicated to not missing the episode. You went somewhere else.
That's awesome.
And including this episode, we have done 106 episodes.
Wow.
I know.
I'm surprised you're not sick of me by now.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm surprised we're not sick of each other.
Which it's good that we're not. And maybe this quarantine will remind us of that because I really miss you. When you were gone for that week for your conference and then you came back and all this craziness started. Yeah. And so I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, even though we were still seeing each other here and there.
Well, and now we've been quarantined for another month.
I know.
So we'll figure this out.
We will.
Even if we have to get like plastic bubbles, maybe. We can just sit on my back porch in plastic bubbles recording.
Can we just put the phone 3 feet between each of us and then we can stand 6 feet apart and just yell at the phone?
Exactly. That works.
There you go. So, and then you had already mentioned that it took us a couple months to come up with 411 as our name. So we had 14 Thursday episodes that were released before we came up with that name. And then it was our July 11th Robert Scorpio 411 that we finally had the name 411.
That's so cool.
I can't believe we didn't think about it beforehand though.
I can't either. It took us how many years to figure out Pier 54?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's not like it was a couple days. It was years that we could not think of a name. So
I felt like that was meant to be though. We came up with the name right when we needed to start.
Exactly. Everything happened the way that it's supposed to.
There you go.
So now we're just going to go over some of the topics that we've covered. And these are actually in order from when we started. So if you haven't listened to these topics, just go back to the beginning and work your way up. So I'm going to say that our honorary first weekly history thing was our Welcome to Pier 54, even though it was released on Monday. And we'll talk about this later, but I did re-listen to our first episode. I don't know how anyone is still listening. In hindsight, we should have split that into 2 episodes and had it just actually flipped. And
yes.
Welcome to Pier 54 be on Monday, because we did wind up doing a recap at the end of it, and that could have been released Thursday and then started our second week with Monday recap Thursday. But it is what it is. I'm not changing it now. We also did General Hospital.
Hindsight's always 2020.
Always.
Yeah.
We did General Hospital fun facts, the Baldwin family, the Hardy family, the Weber family, and we did a 2-part nurses ball. Also, we did a recap of the 2019 nurses ball, which I think that we'll do.
Oh, definitely.
As long as we have it this year.
Right.
Then we did our recap after the Stone Cold and Jackal show. When Jax came back to GH, we did a background on who he was, and then we did a Father's Day tribute called Dwelling on Dads.
It doesn't feel like Jax has been back that long, that it was before Father's Day.
Yeah.
So then we did Who Is Nell, Who is Kate Howard, which was a 2-parter, the 411 on Robert Scorpio, which, like we said, was our first official 411. Then Max Scorpio, Hayden Barnes. Then we did our chat with Bradford, which was still one of my favorites. And next was Dante and Lulu. And then What the Tweet, that was a fun one to read what everyone was saying and kind of have a little more interaction back and forth between us and everyone else that watches.
We need to do that again.
Yes, that would be fabulous, especially with all the new storyline. Finally, we know all about Wiley. That would be a really good Instagram conversation.
Yes.
Or Twitter, either one. So then the next week we did Instagram. And then after that was Drew Kane, which also, that feels longer. Like that happened longer than just 6 months or so ago.
Yeah. And that we did for the Instagram one, it's Instagreat GH fan accounts where we highlighted the different fan accounts that are on Instagram.
Right. That was fun.
That was fun. And then after Drew, we talked about Franco. And the reason we did that was because this is when they were doing the memory transfer thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were giving the background on Franco because everyone's like, why do we need to care about their memories from when they were kids?
Yes.
That's why. And then we went down a big rabbit hole for about a month and a half. Cameron Weber, followed by Jake Spencer, followed by Aiden Spencer, followed by 3-part Elizabeth Weber.
Yes. She has so much information though. I don't feel like looking at that now, I'm thinking, do we really need to do 3 parts? But there was so much information. I don't know how we could have made that any shorter. Yeah. She's been on for a long time.
Right. And has been a significant character.
Yes.
He's never gone away.
Mm-mm. Thank goodness.
And then we wrapped up the Weber family by talking about Sarah Weber. And then we talked about different Halloween memories from the show. And then one of my favorites was the What If episode where we asked for people's input about their favorite potential storylines. So like how they would have changed things.
Yes.
And then in celebration of the anniversary of what would have been the anniversary of Luke and Laura's wedding, we talked about Luke and Laura's wedding. And then with Brooklyn Ashton coming back, we did a recap about her.
That also doesn't feel like that was that long ago. It feels like she was just coming back.
Yeah.
Then we did our Thanksgiving episode, and then we had our chat with Sean Kanan, which obviously that was a favorite.
That was fun.
Your podcast or mine interview, which was our first crossover with another podcast, which that was neat too, because when we first started this, I wouldn't have even thought about joining with another podcast. So that was fun.
Neither would I.
Then we did the Christmases of Port Charles Past, and then New Year's, and then best of 2019 and our hopes for 2020, which coronavirus is not part of that, being trapped inside.
Or coronavirus were on our radar.
It feels so long ago to be thinking about the new year. It really does feel like March has lasted like 6 months.
And we'll need to go back and listen to that hopes for 2020 at the end of the year and see if anyone's predictions came true. I think that will be fun. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then we did Claudette. I can't say her last name. Julia.
And then,
Julia.
Okay. I just know I can't say it.
We thought she was coming back based on how much they were talking about her.
Yes.
And she hasn't.
She has not. That makes me sad because I think that would have been a good storyline the way we had it written out in our heads anyway of her coming back.
Agreed.
And then we did Charlotte Cassadine and then Marcus Taggart, which had to be one of your favorites since you're in love with him. And then Studio City.
And then we talked about A World Without General Hospital, which happened during the impeachment trials.
Yes.
And then we talked about Valentine's Day. And then our interview with Wiley's real mom, Jacqueline Olsen.
They're so cute. The boys are so cute. I could not so much re-listen to that over and over, but watch that last part where we got to actually see the boys over and over again.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. They're adorable. And now they're actually not on Instagram anymore because they've been getting creepy messages.
Oh.
So thanks, bad people, for...
Right. Why does one person have to ruin it for everyone? That's not fair.
I don't think it would just be one person.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know, but it's...
That's sad.
And then... one of my favorites, our chat with Rael Andrews. That was so much fun.
You were so cute with your starstruckness when he first came on the camera.
When we interview Michael Easton, because it is going to happen, I don't know what I'll be able. I don't know. I was just looking at him like, hi.
You better write out everything you want to ask him so that I can read your notes, because if not, you're just not going to participate in that interview at all.
And I'll just have my paper up. I'll be like, I just can't look at you. Oh my God, look how cool that is.
Oh, that's...
So I have a Zoom background on right now, and I held my paper up and it covered my face with, I have a background of the beach because I'm getting bored on quarantine. Anyway, we do not have a scheduled time with Michael. I am just saying we're going to.
Yes. Positive thinking gets you everywhere.
Yes, ish.
Just say yes for today. Just for that, at least.
Ish. I do agree that a positive attitude is necessary.
There you go.
And then we talked about the rise of Sunny Corinthos, which we actually thought it was originally going to be titled The 90s Mob, but after
all Sunny,
it was all Sunny. And then we did our crossover with Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, which was the stories from Super Soap and Fan Club Weekends.
That was really fun. I could have talked to them for another 10 hours.
I am fairly certain if it was not snowing and Karen wanted to go play in the snow that we would have talked for
very true
a long, long time. They were so fun to talk to.
Yes.
Then we did our recap about Britt Westbourne because she came back. And then last week we talked with Ella Ramasiri and her mom, Stephanie.
That was a really fun interview. Just because she's so cute and she's around my youngest daughter's age, I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed talking to my youngest about it. She was playing with her LOL dolls after they got home from their dads. I just talked to somebody about those dolls and it was really cute.
Well, it was great to see that she's a kid.
Yes.
You know, she's a kid.
She's a kid. They're letting her be a kid.
Yes.
Instead of pressuring her. It's adorable.
Can I just go run? I've been inside all week. Can I just go run?
Do you want me to get you some LOL slippers and you can run outside in them?
Yes.
Amanda, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for me to pick out my FabFitFun selections.
Oh my gosh, you were so excited with the last box. What are you going to get this time?
I love FabFitFun. Seriously, I've been using it for over a year, and at first I was like, do I really want to, spend money on that? Yes.
I know how excited
you get
you
over
were.
$200 worth of products for only $49.99, and it's once a quarter.
That's not bad at all.
No, not at all. One of the items that I'm getting in my spring box is a light therapy anti-wrinkle light. I've seen them listed other places for well over $100, and that's going to be included in my box. They also have robes, different lotions, sprays. There's a really cute umbrella on there. Tons of things for you to pick out.
You're making me want one.
You could go to our website, pier54podcast.com, and just go under the savings tab and click the Get Offer button under the FabFitFun. Make sure to use promo code RAINBOW and you get $10 off your first box.
That's a deal.
It's amazing. So go check out our website, pier54podcast.com, and make sure to use promo code RAINBOW for $10 off your first box. And you're going to love it.
So yeah, it's been an exciting year. On top of all of that, we've released our merchandise line, which you can find on our website, pier54podcast.com. And we have t-shirts, hoodies, fitness tank tops, coffee mugs, which is a big seller. I think that's everyone's favorite. It's the coffee mugs.
Is coffee mugs that say, I'd rather be in Port Charles. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm watching General Hospital is the number one coffee mug.
because that's adorable. We also have pillows, phone covers, and a onesie for babies, which I think is adorable.
And it's
somebody have a baby.
A hospital fan.
Yes. Someone needs to have a baby just so we can buy that onesie for them. And then we're looking to add more products this year.
And so we have some announcements for our year 2. We are going to start doing a Fan of the Month spotlight and a newsletter. So you can submit your information to be featured in our Fan of the Month on our website, pier54podcast.com. There will be a form for you to fill out. And each month we will go through them and we'll pick a fan to be interviewed through Zoom with us. And we'll feature you on our podcast. The newsletter will also have occasionally, coupons for merchandise, free shipping coupons, maybe a percentage off or something, and just other fun perks like that.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to hear how other people got started watching and their stories. It's so interesting to hear what made people stick with it.
Yes.
A lot of people started because their mom or their grandma watched it, but what really made them continue watching it after that. So I'm excited. And then we're also going to do a book club this year, which I'm super excited about because it's going to give me an excuse now that I have to sit down and read the books so that we can get it done. And that'll launch in April. Our first book will be Nothing General About It, which is Maurice's new book. And it comes out April 7th, so you can pre-order that. And then go ahead and join us on our Facebook Pier 54, a General Hospital fan podcast page. Like it and request to join our group. And then we'll have like a book club to sit around and not sit around, I guess, but to, talk back and forth about it. And that'll be the end of April sometime. I don't know. We'll have to look at what our Thursday, whatever that last Thursday is, I would assume.
Well, we wouldn't talk about it on Thursday.
Well, you know what I mean. Talk about it a few days before that. And then I'm assuming that's what the episode will be, is our book club for April.
Yeah, so we'll pick a date to get together with all of the book club people, even if it's just you and I for the first one. That's fine.
Oh, I bet we have a good following with it being Maurice's book. But I'm surprised at how many of them have books. Like, we're going to be busy this year reading up on all of them.
Well, and what? We have Lucy's Travel Guide to Port Charles. I've already read it. The Success Factor X. I know you read some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Molly's book.
Yes. That's going to be fun.
So there's a lot of books that we can. So it's either going to be a book written by a cast member, maybe a fan fiction type book. There's also really old General Hospital soap opera novels.
Mm-hmm.
They might be hard to find.
Oh, that's what eBay is for.
And thrift books.
Yes.
Which if I don't already, I'm going to put our link up on there. Because I love it.
I know you always have a discount for them.
Yep. Because I'm frugal. So yeah,
I can't even imagine where we'll be next year on our 2-year anniversary with all of this. I'm excited.
Neither can I. So what was the biggest takeaway from our first year?
So I listened to the first one, and actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be going back. So I was kind of impressed with us, which is good. It was a little long, and we got off topic a little bit more than we meant to. But I also feel like it was a good first one to show our personalities and kind of how this is going to be, because we get off topic a lot whenever we're talking about something that happens in a storyline that pertains to us or whatever. So I wasn't as critical of it as I thought that I was going to be. Looking back on it though, some of the stuff we've already talked about, I say like about 800 times in that first one, and you say and so about 800 times.
And
Mm-hmm. So I think we've got better. I know I still say like too much, but I think that we've got better at sticking with the subject and following through and getting our thoughts together beforehand. But sometimes some of our best conversations are the ones that, not that we ever script it, but that we just kind of go off on our own little rampage about whatever's happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think mostly I'm just really thankful that we did this, that we actually sat down and made the plan and started it, and we've had our weekly dates now for a whole year, which is crazy. And that we've had that time and that people listen to us and all of that. So I don't know. It's just crazy to me. It's not, I know I used that word about 1,000 times today, but that's the only word I have to describe it, is I really didn't think that people would care to hear what we had to say that much, that like you said, that day that it wasn't working, they would go out of their way to try to find it, because I don't know that I would have been that dedicated So I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for listening.
It kind of validated what we're doing, at least for me, because people like it.
Right.
I am very glad that I learned how to edit.
Yeah, you got a lot more skills this year than I did. So thank you for all of that, because I appreciate that too.
I am very thankful that we stopped saying hi in unison. Welcome to the Pier 54 podcast we used to do. So we started doing our intro on April 22nd. So we actually didn't go that long without it. I felt like we did it for longer than we did. And the first time we ended, we'll meet you at the Pier, was on April 8th. So that was only like our third or fourth episode.
Right. I feel like we picked up on a lot of our mistakes quickly.
Me too. And like you said, we get up on our tangents and everything. And I think the one thing that we weren't quite sure what to do with, because we want to be relatable to people, but we also don't want to get so off track with our own stuff, was the reality check, and I did not go to see when the first time we did that was. But I think that we picked up on that quickly and we're like, okay, we need something to separate GH and our realities.
Right.
Just as dramatic sometimes. I mean, look at what's going on right now.
Right.
And you've been talking much more.
Well, thanks. I don't know if everyone would agree that that's a good thing, but thanks.
I think it's a good thing. And one thing that I picked up on by listening to the first episode that we did was that we have had our current general hospital introduction.
Yes.
A little over a year. I think it was only maybe a week or so old when we started.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was neat to take yourself back in time and hear about those storylines, because Oscar hadn't passed away yet. We talked about, we found
out that Willow had the tattoo.
Oh, right.
Just found out that Carly was pregnant with baby Donna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of new stuff happening that doesn't seem like it was only a year ago in some ways, but seems like it was a lot longer than a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun year. I'm looking forward to our second year.
I'm excited. I really am, just because we have learned so much to take it one step further. I like interacting with the people more, not just the actors. I mean, obviously that's exciting to talk to them, but the idea of interviewing other fans and connecting with other podcasts and all that, it makes me excited to see how we're going to grow this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. It's because that's how we get so much out of it, is we get a lot of our enjoyment, not just from the show, but talking to each other, and It's fun. So
it is.
I'm looking forward to the same. I'm really excited that we're going to start the book club.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so thanks for listening to us for a year.
I would like to know how people found us too. That's the question we should ask at some point. Did it just pop up, or were they searching for something a little bit more?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would really like to know that.
So, but anyway, is there anything else? We're good? We're done?
No, so just join us on Monday as we talk about this week's shows.
So have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the Pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.